You've probably read about artists who are choosing to delay their upcoming releases because of the coronavirus. But is that the right move for you? That's what we're going to talk about on today's Music Biz. If you've been following music industry headlines, then you'll know that an increasing number of high-profile artists are announcing that they are delaying their upcoming projects until later in the year because of coronavirus. The question is, will that decision help your career as well? Today, I want to take a look at the reasons why these announcements are happening and whether or not it will actually benefit up-and-coming artists to do the same thing. So why are these delays happening? Well, the reasons are actually fairly numerous. For starters, if you're a high-profile artist, someone on a major label with a lot of funding behind you, you've probably spent far more on your upcoming release than the regular musician. You know, an up-and-coming band will scrape together a few $1,000s to go in and record, but if you're a major label artist, especially in the world of pop or hip-hop or even some rock bands, you're spending tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to record and produce your upcoming album, and some of those records may even stretch into the millions. That is a lot of debt to take on recording a new album, and labels as well as the artists want to make sure that there is a return on that investment. So these delays are happening because, let's face it, right now, people don't really have a lot of money to be spending on music. And even though music sales are sliding, people aren't even streaming as much as they usually do, so the royalties from that are low. And then there's the looming fact that all live performances are currently postponed. There is no live music anywhere on the planet practically, and that's not changing anytime soon. So if there's no tour revenue, and if there's less physical revenue and less streaming revenue, well then there's a lot of reasons to not put out something that costs a lot of money that you're hoping to make money on. But there are more practical reasons for delays as well. If you've been following the metal headlines, the band Hatebreed recently announced that they're going to delay their upcoming release because the production facility that makes vinyl and CDs for the band has closed due to COVID-19 concerns. And other labels are telling us that they're delaying releases because the band can't get together to make promotional materials, such as music videos and photography and all those things that you need to really market a release in an impactful way. So until those things can happen, the releases are shelved. Now, I'm sure that you probably have a lot of these concerns as well. After all, if you're an up-and-coming artist, money is often hard to come by. So anything you spend on recording, you absolutely hope to get back. And anything that you spend on promotional materials or even just making promotional materials is also important. You need those things to get ahead, and you need to see some return on them in order to keep your career going. And the fact that you can't play right now is probably frustrating you and maybe even a little scary depending on your financial predicament. But let me tell you this, I'm not 100% convinced that up-and-coming artists stand to gain anything from delaying their releases, and I'm going to tell you why. Hey, real quick, not to distract from the video, though I hope you're enjoying it so far. Music Biz only continues to exist because people care about it and subscribe. So if you haven't done so already, click that button below and I will just be forever thankful because I love doing this channel and I want to keep creating content for you, but we need subscribers. So please click that button below if you haven't already, and if you have, thank you. I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get back to the show. The general consensus in the industry right now is that everything is going to get back in action by August or September of 2020, which means all of the records that are currently being delayed are going to be coming out in September, October, maybe into November, but probably not any later than that because December and January are historically dead times for the industry. People aren't buying music traditionally, so they probably won't be buying music this year as well. So everyone's going to be shoving their releases into a 2 to 3 month window, hoping to maximize the return on investment by also, hopefully, playing shows, making music videos, and all that jazz. And what that's going to do is create an avalanche of content. And when all these high-profile artists start releasing things that people have been waiting for, especially previously announced projects that have been delayed, not to mention all of the upcoming albums that we don't even know about because their announcements never happened, there's less and less time and money to be spent on up-and-coming artists. And that can be a hard fact to swallow. Because as an up-and-coming artist, you want to believe that if you put your best foot forward and the best music you can possibly write and present yourself just right, people are going to pay attention, buy tickets to your shows, and support your music. But the fact of the matter is, everyone only has so much time and money to dedicate to their interest in music, even the most passionate music fans. And when big-name artists are shelling out a ton of content all at once, it's the small artists that get lost in the fold, and you don't want that for your career. It won't matter if you have the best song that's ever been released, or if you have a really engaging music video, or an album that front to back is filled with potentially great songs. None of that matters if people aren't able to pay attention to what you're doing and take notice of it and take an interest and invest themselves into what you're doing. All of this is to say that I think you should move forward with whatever release plans you have right now. Yes, you may not be able to get all of the things that you ideally would want to have. Maybe you won't be able to get the best possible photo shoot or create a real high budget music video or really creative video. But time and time again, history has proven that when artists are forced into a corner and made to create under unusual circumstances or under less than ideal circumstances, that is often when the best art is created. And that goes for writing and recording music, but also promoting yourself. I mean, just look at how people in the industry have been adapting over the last several weeks. There are a ton of artists who have turned to Twitch to do regular performances and raise money through donations. Or maybe it's Instagram Live, where they interview other bands that they're friends with and start to build a community through all the shared followers. Or maybe it's something like Patreon, where artists are creating fan clubs and giving away a ton of great content for low costs. Artists are adapting to these times using tools that have been widely available for often years, but they've never really needed to rely on them because they could always just do whatever they wanted to promote their band. But now that everyone's kind of been pushed into a corner, we're seeing this real rise in creativity and outside the box thinking in terms of marketing. And you can do the same thing for your career. Because if you already have those great songs, right now there is less competition than ever, week to week, to get attention for your music. And speaking as a music journalist and somebody who is connected to a lot of other journalists who are continuing to work through this period, whether they are paid or unpaid, people are hungry for great music. They want to talk about music. They want to talk about anything other than what we're all thinking about all the time. They want to create a sense of escapism. They want to give people hope. They want to give people something to entrench themselves in that is not all of the nightmares that we see in the news right now. And you have the ability to be that thing by moving forward with your release, thinking outside the box, creating the best content you can with what you have available to you, and just pouring your all into it. There's an audience out there waiting to be entertained, and you can be the thing that gets them through this moment. And if you are, then the fall is going to be even better for you than if your release came out then. I know that you're worried that you're going to put out music now, and by the time you're able to tour, nobody's going to care about that release. But I think the opposite is true. If I were to hear a release from an artist I didn't know right now that completely blew my mind and got me through this rough time, when that artist announces their fall tour dates, that will be the first concert that I sign up to see. Or buy a ticket to see, I guess would be a better way to put it. But that's going to be the artist that I seek out. And that's true for everyone. The people that are getting us through this time right now are the people we are going to celebrate when we can get back out into the world and begin going to shows again, or just go to a record store and pick up an album. It's going to be the artists that do more for their fans now that reap the rewards in the fall, not the people who wait until the fall to get back out there and try to cash in. People are going to see through that. That is, if they can even find the releases, because there's going to be so much content coming out then. So don't worry about the future as much as right now and what you can do. And what you can do is put out great music, make the content you're able to make, think outside the box, and really start engaging with your audience, as well as building a new audience that can come out and see you this fall, and hopefully, at the very latest, early 2021. And obviously, we know that things are not as easy as that may all sound. It's not always easy to figure out when to release your music or how to reach out to people or what kind of content you can create while stuck inside your house, but that's why this channel exists. Music Biz has a ton of videos about all of these topics and more on the way, so if you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button down below. And if you have, then you have our utmost thanks and gratitude. We are only able to keep doing this because you keep watching. And if you leave a comment, I promise you we will try to respond. I think we've responded to every comment to date, and we have no plans to stop anytime soon. So drop us a line, drop us a question. We often make videos based on the things people suggest to us. And if you've already done those things, or if you're just watching from the comfort of your home trying to figure out this thing called the music industry in the time of coronavirus, that's fine too. But at the very end of the day, we only ask one thing of you, and that is that you take care of yourself, because you deserve it.